All right, here with Paddy, the Baddy Pimblett. He's fighting next weekend in Manchester. Bobby Green. Paddy, I believe you became a father recently. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is
How
very
you
correct.
how you feeling?
So I'm looking at them right now as we speak. To be honest,
Really?
my wife's got one of the babies on a chest. I'm pushing the other one on the pram, making sure they're not crying while I'm doing this interview.
Yeah, yeah. Are you like? I mean, how has your life changed? Has it changed your training schedule? Like, what's going on in your life with now that you have a
No,
baby?
obviously it has changed my life. Goes without saying, but I'm not gonna lie, it's changed my wife's life a lot more than it's changed mine.
Hmm.
Where I'm in fight camp, she knows that I have to focus on training more than anything, and I help out with feeds and help out with stuff like that as much as I can. But like I'm not always there 24/7 like she is. Like
Yeah.
she's a hands-on 24/7 looking after two babies.
Dude, yeah, no, I can't imagine that being difficult. Charles Oliveira, he had a kind of a 50-50 career up until he had a kid. And then he credits having a baby for his, change in his career. Is that anything for you?
I didn't know that. Is that when Charles went on his big win streak?
That is when he
Well,
won his win
fuck
streak
me. I
credits.
hope that happened. I hope that's what fucking comes here. I don't know what
Yeah.
I mean. I hope I come out and start knocking people out and submitting people in the first round like he did.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's been a while. We've seen you, I think one time in the last 18 months. What's been going on? Like, have you been training a lot? I know you dealt with some injuries. Like how's your fight career, I guess, been going for
But
you?
yeah, when I've still been training consistently, know what I mean. But when I fought Jared Gordon, done something I done something to my ankle. I had to get three surgeries in one on my ankle, full ligament reconstruction, in and out of ligaments, and the CFL in the middle. So I was bedbound for about 3 months. You know what I mean? I had when I got surgery, I ended up having a cast a boot on my foot for about 3 months. You know what I mean? So that was just like I got a bit depressed on that doing with that, to be honest, because I couldn't even train. You know what I mean? Like I've had hand injuries before, but I couldn't even train. I couldn't do nothing because I had a boot on.
Yeah.
And so I ended up, I didn't think I'd be able to fight last year at all. But then obviously I came back 4th in December and beat Tony Ferguson. And obviously I got a few little injuries in that fight as well. Some that I'm still like maintaining and just getting through. But I've never been so sore after the fight, as that Tony Ferguson one.
Really?
I've not, it's mad. Yeah, the man's made of steel. Like, I swear I was rolling around in the bed that night, like, in pain. Like I've done 25-minute fights before, lad, and I've never been in so much pain as I was after I fought Tony Ferguson. My body, and it's crazy because first round I absolutely beat him up, and then the second and third round I just sat on top of him, punching and elbowing him. So I
Yeah.
don't understand how I was so sore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got those sharp elbows, right? They're legendary. Those sharp elbows they'll get you.
Yeah, the lad. It was his legs, all his shins and stuff, and I was kicking him.
Yeah.
It's never had anyone's shins so hard.
No, yeah, totally. So I was going back into like your past fights and Cage Warriors and stuff. I don't know if you know this, but you haven't been an underdog in a fight since 2018. But that is actually set to change. You're an underdog against Bobby Green. Is there any,
Yeah,
the last time you were an underdog was against Soren Bach or Bach in Cage Warriors.
yeah, and I only lost that fight because I was still recovering from hand surgery 3 months before. I actually had him in a tight rear naked choke in the first round,
Mm.
but where I just had that surgery, I
Yeah.
had that surgery on the 10th of May, and then I fought him on the 1st of September.
Ooh.
Like I shouldn't have fought, but I did it because without me, that show would have just been cancelled, and I had about 8 teammates fighting on it.
Okay.
So I still fought, and I still to this. That's one of my biggest regrets in my career, to be honest. Actually doing that fight because if my hand's 100% there, he goes asleep in the first round. I choke him and I win the cage warriors lightweight title.
Wow.
But because I'm so stubborn and I
Yeah.
wanted to fight and I didn't want to let everyone down, I still fought and I ended up losing a decision. To be honest, still looking back at that fight, that first round was a 10-8. I think I won the second round. I
Mhm.
still think that fight should have been a draw.
Wow. That's wild. I haven't watched that fight. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it now. But you're an underdog. So in that Bach fight, you were I believe like a plus 110, like close. It was a close
Yeah.
this one you opened at as a decent size underdog, and then some people have been betting on you since then, and now you're down to like plus 140, I guess. Does that surprise you at all?
No,
Really?
it doesn't, because everybody underestimates me. You know what I mean? Because I still look like an 18-year-old kid who sings, but people just think that I'm a nothing. You know what I mean? People just think, oh, he's just a kid. When I can't wait to stand next to Bobby Green at the press conference and the what's it called, the weigh-in, because
Mhm.
I think I'm just gonna tower over him. You know what I mean? And like, he's just a blown up featherweight. Like, he could make featherweight.
Mhm.
I'm a real lightweight, and I
Mhm.
think people are surprised when they see me because I'm one of the biggest lightweights that there is in the division.
Yep.
People just see pictures of me when I go fat and think, "Oh, he's just fat. He just goes fat." When I'm not, I am one of the biggest lightweights that there is, and I'll show that come fight night.
Totally. And you know what I think is like one of your big strengths is athleticism. Like you are actually sneaky one of the best athletes in the division, and just in terms of speed and like explosive movement. Is there anything like training wise that you do to like, use that, and against Bobby Green, you should have that advantage in theory.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest, I've always been flexible, you know what I mean? I've always been flexible and stuff like that. But I didn't start lifting weights until late 2019, 2020.
Wow,
I
that's
literally did my whole career without doing any strength and conditioning.
that's
I
crazy.
just used to do like hill sprints and
Mhm.
little bits of weights and stuff, and then I actually started focusing on my S&C 5 years ago. And if you go back and like look at that fight with Soren back in 2018,
Mhm.
my body shape is completely different. Where I was still a child, you know what I mean? I didn't mature
Right.
and become a man until a few years ago. And
Yeah.
now my explosiveness and my speed and all that has come with it. And yeah, I think I'm gonna make Bobby look like an old man, to be honest. He's nearly 40 anyway, you know what I mean? So I think I'm gonna make him look like an old bastard.
Funny that you say like the fighting you were still a kid. Max Holloway always says that. When Max Holloway fought Conor McGregor, he always says he's like, "Yeah, you beat me when I was 19. Like, fight me now." You know,
Yeah.
is like, do you see any noticeable differences in the last couple years since you become in the UFC and all that stuff?
Yeah, that's just like just my genuine size, to be honest. Like me legs, people always say to me how big my thighs are. And I'm
Mhm.
like, lad, that's just off doing me strength and conditioning with me coach Paul Reed, you know what I mean? And he's got me fitness and me strength and me explosiveness and me power up so much. And I think that is one thing that people sleep on me is me power. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I sleep on it, to be honest. Sometimes, like people say to me in the gym, "And I did hit me with a shot there," and I felt that, and I'm like, "Did I? Yeah." And
Yeah.
like, even I sleep on my own power, and we've seen Bobby get slept before. Seen Drew Dober knock him out. We've seen that terrible stoppage when Jalen Turner knocked him out. So I'll be honest, I think he's a bit chinny. You know what I mean? I think and the fact he's changed his name to King, as I've said in another interview, CTE is real.
Yeah, no, 100%. And so would you say that striking exchanges don't concern you? Because, I guess conventional wisdom would be you'd have a grappling advantage if it got there.
No,
Um,
we all know I've got a grappling advantage. Everyone knows I've got a grappling advantage. It's just a lot of it's a lot of Americans, a lot of haters think that I haven't got any wrestling. You know what I mean? Think that I can't take them down. But the only way, the only way Bobby beats me is if he pitter patters me for 3 rounds and stays on the outside because he hasn't got the power to knock me out. There's no way he submits me. Know what I mean? And he won't be able to take me down. Know what I mean? So I think personally I can beat him wherever the fight goes. I think I can knock him out with a punch, a kick, a knee, an elbow. I think I could just take him down and sit on top of him for 3 rounds like I did to Tony for 2 rounds. Or I can submit him on top or off my back. Know what I mean? I think I can finish Bobby anywhere the fight goes. But I know he can't knock me out. He hasn't got the power. Know what I mean? And I know he can't submit me because I'm not old Tony Ferguson who's just going to give him a sub.
Right. And what do you think about like the closing of the distance, right? Because I feel like you had mentioned that he's gonna, shuffle around the outsides of the cage. I could see that happening as well. Closing distance, would you expect like a lot of clinch work, not as much clinch work?
Well, I've got the longer reach. Know
Yeah.
what I mean? I've got the longer reach, so and I use my kicks a lot. Know what I mean? I'm a very rangy fighter,
Mhm.
so I think I can stand on the outside against him and piece him up. Like,
Mhm.
I think I'm gonna shock a lot of people. To be honest, a lot of people are gonna be like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" I think, as I say, if I want to, I can just stay on the outside and I can beat him with me kicks and me punches, and I'll frustrate him, and he'll end up trying to get in close against me. And then if I want to, I can take him down. If
Mhm.
I'm piecing him up, though, I'll just keep it on the feet and keep whacking him in the face.
Yeah. You're gonna bring back the hair, the braids for the hair?
Yeah, the braid. That's why my hair's so long at the minute, lads.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been having to put a bobble in my hair in the gym so I can see. You know what I mean? But the braids are coming back definitely. They worked a treat last time, so
I love it. So let's play the game that Dana White hates playing. The game of what happens if you win? Assuming you win, is there anything specific that interests you? I have a couple opponents that I could throw at you, or if there's someone that you know off the top of your head.
yeah. When I win, I'm gonna be wanting Renato Moicano.
Okay. Yeah,
Know what
that
I
was
mean? Me and him have had a little back and forth. We both said we like to fight each other. I'll be honest, I wanted to fight him this time. Know what I mean? I wanted that fight. He'd mentioned me in interviews. He'd said he'll fight me. We both said we'd fight each other. So I thought, yeah, maybe we can get this on. And then the contact got sent through with Bobby Green's name on. So it was like, sound, I'll fight Bobby Green then. Know what I mean? I've never said no to a fight, never turned the fight down. So I won't begin with Bobby fucking Green.
yeah. And if when you fight more, okay, so like I love your grappling personally. Like I'm a jujitsu guy as well. Like I just got back from training. I really respect your grappling. I really like you've had a couple triangle chokes in the Cage Warriors that I like watching. Who's the better grappler between you and Renato?
Me,
Okay,
definitely.
definitely.
100% me. Yeah. But I
Yeah.
think if me and Renato fought, I do think it'd end up being just a war on the feet.
Mm,
You know what I mean? I don't think we may end up going to the floor, but I think we're both high level grapplers. 9 times out of 10, them type of fights end up being wars on the feet.
right.
And I think me and him would have a great scrap.
It's kind of like what happened with Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman, right? Like there is so much
Yeah,
respect in the wrestling that there was just a striking war in both.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly. And I think that's what could happen if I fought Renato.
Totally. Yeah, I could totally see that too. And then I don't know if you've ever talked about him before, but Conor McGregor, he fights at 155 typically. I don't know if he can even make the weight anymore, but assuming that he could, would you ever fight him? I know it would be a massive, the way that I view it is as a massive European like monster fight. And that would sell out the biggest football arenas that are in Europe. It would sell out.
Yeah, it would.
I don't know what your thoughts are. Like, is there too much respect there? I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are on him.
No, I really like Conor. Know what I mean? He came into the UFC and absolutely changed the game.
Hmm.
He's brilliant fighter. I don't know. Obviously, we haven't seen him in quite a while, so we don't know if he still got it the way he had it. But I really respect Conor. Know what I mean? I think what he's done in this sport, not many people could have done. And but obviously, if the fight got offered, I'm not going to say no. Know what I mean? That I won't say no to anyone. But
Hmm.
at the same time, that is where the money's at. Know what I mean? If you fight Conor McGregor, you are earning some money. So of course, as I said, I'm a prize fighter. Like
Hmm.
that's what we do. We do this to get paid.
Hmm.
We do this to make as much money as possible and to put food on the table for our families. So if a Conor McGregor fight ever got offered, I'd be taking it.
Hell yeah. Would you have any relationship with Tom Aspinall? I know like the English connection. And when I interviewed Mike Bisping, I asked him, I was like, and he said that like now that he's out of his career, and like in the booth now, he always said that he wants to, like kind of look over his English brothers. Do you have any relationship with Tom Aspinall or Darren Till or anybody?
Well, obviously, whenever I see Tom, we always chat. Know what I mean? Tom's such a nice fella. He's a cool dude.
Mhm.
Same with like Till, bump into him, I'll speak to him. Same with Leon, know what I mean?
Mhm.
Whenever I bump into him, I speak to him. But mainly the people who I speak to all the time is my gym mates, know what I mean? Everyone in my gym. I don't go out my way to speak to anyone else, know what I mean? We look after each other in our gym.
Totally. Um, I'm assuming that Max Holloway is going to fight Ilya for the belt. What do you see happening in that fight? Do you have a prediction?
I see Max beating him, to be
Yeah.
honest, yeah. I see Max finishing him. But we've never seen Ilya lose, lad. So at the same time, you don't really know. But
Yeah.
he hasn't like Max is unbelievable, lad. I rate Max Holloway so highly. But we've never seen Ilya lose, so you don't know. And we haven't really seen a lot of Ilya's grappling. And he's a very good grappler. Give him his due. He's good on the floor. So if he manages to get Max down, he could end up submitting him. But as I say, I personally think Max Holloway beats him.
Mm,
But we've never seen Ilya lose, so it really could go either way.
totally. And were you impressed or surprised? Ilya's power seems to be transcendent in just the way that he was able to knock out Volkanovski, who seemed untouchable for so long. Were you specifically impressed by him?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I woke up that morning and checked the results and seen that he'd beat Volkanovski, I was absolutely gutted
Yeah.
because I really like Volkanovski for one, and obviously I hate Ilya Taporia. But I don't think he would have knocked Volk out if Volk hadn't been knocked out 10, 12 weeks earlier. Know what I mean? Ilya got lucky there and like fought him at the right time. Volk should have had another 3 months off, and he should have came back in like May. He fought far too soon after taking a vicious head kick off Islam, and a fight what he took on like 10 days' notice and had to cut a silly amount of weight. So I think Ilya just everything fell into place for Ilya and with that fight at the right time. I'm not saying it was a lucky knockout because it was a lovely shot. He set it up lovely, but he was getting pieced up in the fight, and I don't think the Volk gets knocked out with that shot unless he's been head kicked 12 weeks prior by Islam and finished.
Totally fair. And then when, future opponents, I know you talked about Moicano. Um, is any of these guys interesting? Benoit Saint Denis, Dan Hooker, Rafael Fiziev, Beneil Dariush. I'm just trying to see the path for you to get to the title.
Well, obviously, if I fight like Bobby Green, then then I fight Moicano. Moicano's ranked 10 at the minute, but then he's fighting Saint Denis, isn't he? So he could end up could win or lose and could end up going up or going down. But I'd love like Moicano and then Dariush would be perfect. Let's see, like rank 7, rank 8,
Yeah, he's higher.
and then yeah, and then someone in the top 5. Know what I mean?
Yep,
And then obviously go for the belt if possible.
totally. That was Dariush was the one in my head where I was like, that feels like a perfect matchup. You guys are both super well rounded. I would love that fight. That's a super fight in my opinion. Um,
Yeah, I'd love to have a scrap with him as well because he's another one of them. He's a very good grappler, but he'll come out and he'll have it on the feet. Know what I mean? Like his fight with Drakkar Close, brilliant scrap.
100%. Everyone talks about Mount Rushmores, right? Your top four fighters for the sport of UFC. Have you ever thought about that? Is there any like four fighters that you think of as like MMA or UFC even, like with your top
Yeah,
four?
UFC it would be undoubtedly John Jones, greatest of all time in my opinion. Um, Mighty Mouse had one of the best runs that the UFC's ever seen. GSP, obviously one of the best welterweights of all time, if not the best welterweight, and then come back and won the middleweight title. And then for the fourth, it'd either be Anderson Silva because of just how good he was in his prime. He was just silly, taking the piss out of people. But he went a bit off towards the end. He lost it a bit towards the end and had too many fights. Yeah, either Anderson Silva or Amanda Nunes, the female goat.
Okay, interesting. I hear Ronda Rousey a lot just because she was like the first great one, but Amanda Nunes, people forget. Amanda Nunes is the
Yeah,
one,
no, if you have Ronda Rousey in there, you have to have Conor McGregor.
right?
Know what I mean? If you have Ronda Rousey, because the bums what she put on seats and the eyes what she brought to the sport around the world, Connor's the same. If you have Ronda Rousey on there, you'd have to have Conor McGregor.
Absolutely. Is there anything that you're like specifically proud of at this point, or do you look back at all and just think like, oh, like this is awesome that I did X, Y, and Z? Like even that, and it doesn't even have to be fighting related. Even that speech that you had about mental health.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was about to say. If anything, it would be what saying that after me fight, because the amount of messages what I got off people saying, "Oh, you saved my life. I would have killed myself if you never said that." Like that means more than winning any fight ever will. You know what I mean? Someone actually saying to me they never killed themselves just because of something I said.
Mhm.
Like that'll mean more than any fight ever will. You know what I mean? And I'll continue to use my platform and continue to try and do the exact same thing. I'll be honest, lad. Over the past couple of months, it's been bad again lately. Like there's a lad in Liverpool called Gilly who hung himself a couple of weeks ago. About 2 months ago, there was a young MMA fighter in the UK called Connor Hitchens who killed himself. So to be honest, it may actually be something that I might have to talk about again after this fight because just like 2 years ago when people were killing themselves left, right, and centre, it did die down a bit. People didn't like it went down the demographic of people actually killing themselves, but now, lad, it's happening all over again, lad. I just hear of people killing themselves all the time, and I think mainly, as I say, I may need to mention it again. Like what I said last time, what I said 2 years ago, that was just off the cuff. You know what I mean? I just said that where my friend had killed himself like 36 hours before. It just come out, but this time I think I am actually going to have to say something about it because it's it really is getting out of hand. The amount of people that I'm seeing lately who are killing themselves or trying to kill themselves, it's scary.
It's terrible, man. And like also like, and I've never dealt with like a total ankle reconstruction like you, but like just like sitting there and like being bedridden for 3 months, like when did that end? Do you know? Do you remember?
That that was the. I'll be honest. That was like a while ago. I got pretty depressed. When I fought Soren back
Mhm.
after that fight, because when I went into that fight 3 months post surgery, and then in the fight I broke my hand again,
Mhm.
so I had to get another surgery to get it fixed, and that was a depressing time because I should have I shouldn't have done that fight. I should have let my hand heal. So mentally after that it was bad. You know what I mean? I was waking up every morning. My missus was giving me a kiss and going to work, and I was sitting there crying. I just had to sit there and cry and let the tears come out. And then when I done that against Jared Gordon, it happened at the worst possible time because obviously it was a very close fight, very close decision.
Yep.
I got the nod. A lot of people still say to this day that it was a robbery, which I don't understand. You know what I mean? If you think that's a robbery, go and watch Korean Zombie vs Leonard Garcia. Go and watch Lyoto Machida vs Shogun who won. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? They're robberies. Jared Gordon's last fight was a robbery against Nasrat Haqparast. You know what I mean? That was a robbery, not me. But people just call my fight with Jared a robbery because it was a close fight and people love jumping on the Baddy hate bandwagon.
Yep.
But yeah, I got injured at the worst possible time because after that fight, obviously, I wanted to get back in there as soon as possible and prove to everyone that I had an off night and it was like that performance. My ankle played a big part in that. I done my ankle in the first round, so that played a big part in like my movement in that fight and my footwork, and I couldn't really get anything off. So I had to have surgery in I think the March, and then I had a boot on my foot until like May. You know what I mean? Or February. I had surgery. I had the boot on till like May. But when you do your hand, at least I could go for runs and I could do little bits of training. You know what I mean? And when you do your foot, you can't do anything. I was just sitting on the couch, bed bound. Like for a week, I had to sleep on the couch because I couldn't walk up the stairs. Like it was that was one of the most depressing times in my life because I couldn't do anything. Like I was on crutches everywhere I went, and at the same time, I had people commenting on all my stuff like, "Oh, that's a robbery, this and that." And but the worst thing about that was some of the comments I got. What was like, "Oh, you might as well go and kill yourself now. Your life's over. You might." And like I was like, "Fucking else." 6 months ago, I told everyone that it's all right to talk and it's better if men speak, and then now people are telling me in my comment section to go and kill myself. Lad, it just it messed with me head. Know what I mean? It messed with me head a lot, but it's made me the man who I am today. Know what I mean? It's made me a lot stronger. Without all that, I wouldn't be as strong mentally as I am now. I got through it, and as I say, now that I've got kids, I've got even more to fight for, and you're gonna see a different version of me come July 28th.
I'm gonna have to call you Paddy Pimblett. We call you Paddy Dubronx Pimblett. It's fun. Um, the social media thing is because I remember that too. I remember looking at the UFC comment section on Instagram. How did you get through that? Because that was nuts, honestly. And the word robbery is thrown around insanely now.
Just too loosely, it just gets thrown around all the
Everything's
time.
a
It's
robbery.
crazy.
There needs to be like, okay, like maybe I don't agree with the decision, but stop saying it's a robbery. There's like three robberies on every card now. There should be like
Yeah.
two or three robberies a year. And that one was a really close fight. Could have gone either way. No robbery either way. Um, like how do you is there any way that specifically that you like are able to like deal with that because it's brutal and also like part of your brand is social media. You have a huge social media following. You're a massive European star. Like you are beloved over there in theory, but obviously, there's some knuckleheads in there, obviously. Is there any specific way that you're able to get through that?
To be honest, it was crazy for me because all the way up until till that, I was loved by everyone. Know what I mean? And then that changed it all. But as I say, the maddest thing was when I fought in July and I beat Jordan Levy, and I said that after me fight, I was the best thing since sliced bread.
Yep.
Know what I mean? Like I was the best thing in the world. And then literally 5 months later, I win a close decision, which was a close decision. I do regret saying in the cage after it, oh, no way, that wasn't close. But lad, I just fought for 15 minutes. That's what people don't understand there, which annoys me because I still get comments on my YouTube to this day. It seems like Paddy's got more humble now since he fought Jared Gordon. It's like, what? I'm still the same person. I'm never going to change. I'm just me. The fact that I'm a fighter and I said in the cage after I'd won, after I'd just been punched in the head for 15 minutes and punched someone else in the head for 15 minutes, the fact that I said, no, yeah, I think I won that fight, people turned on me. I found that absolutely crazy because I'm a fighter. Know what I mean? Unless I do actually get my head punched in for 3 rounds or I get took down and dominated for 3 rounds, I'm not going to say that I think I lost, am I? We're fighters. We like the punches he hit me with, nothing hurt. Know what I mean? And I think the fact that my hair does that, well, used to do that before I got it sorted. People thought that it was worse. I ended up watching the fight back and was like, yeah, that was a close fight. It wasn't as one side, like not one sided, but it wasn't like I clearly won the 2 rounds that I thought I did. But I watched it with and without commentary, and I think if you watch it with commentary, that sways it a lot more towards Jared also.
Hmm.
But I watched it without it, and yeah, it was a close fight, but I don't get to this day why it still gets brought up and people still say that it's a robbery. Know what I mean? Like, if that's a robbery, people need to go and watch Khabib versus Gleison Tibau. Like, seriously, like even Jared's last fight, like as I say, that's more of a robbery. That is a robbery. I'll be honest, I thought that was a robbery. I thought Jared easily took rounds 2 and 3,
Mhm.
and then he lost a split decision.
Yeah, no, you know, do you blame and like I'm talking about myself as somebody who works for a media company. Do you like I know that it seemed like there was a lot of media attention too that came with that. Do you blame the media at all for part of the blowback that was involved in the Jared Gordon split decision? Because there was a lot of stuff.
Yeah, of course. We had done that podcast that week with a certain journalist, won't say his name,
Hmm.
but where and I spoke about a certain journalist. A lot of people just turned on me for that
Hmm.
when I was just telling the truth. Know what I mean? Everything what I said on that podcast was the truth. That journalist just twisted everything and then made me look like a piece of shit.
Hmm.
And I remember from that night as well, multiple MMA journalists put up 29-28 Pimlet. And then when that certain journalist we're talking about who hosts the MMA hour, when he put up his score, they deleted their tweet and
Mm,
put 29-28 Gordon or 30-27 Gordon. Know what I mean? So
really?
yeah, that's how much sway that man has. Know what I mean? People just listen to what he says and don't question it. And like the media did play a big part in that. You're right. I've seen a couple of media scores for that were at 30-27, Jared. Know what I
Mhm.
mean? I was like, what? What
Yeah.
fight were you watching? Know what I mean? Did you go outside to smoke a joint when the fight was on? And then someone just told you what the scorecard was?
Yeah.
Because I don't understand how you just give all 3 rounds to him. It just doesn't make sense. Like, even if you, like, look at the fight after it, look at my face and look at his face. The fight,
That's a,
like, now the fight gets judged on damage. The only
Mhm.
damage I had was to my own ankle, where I'd kicked him. Know what I mean? I don't even think I had a bloody nose in that fight, like I did against Tony. But I think I broke Jared's nose, and he had a couple of cuts on him where I'd elbowed him and stuff like that. So, especially if you're judging a fight off damage, I don't understand how people thought he won all 3 rounds.
I'm calling a spade here. I also think that you probably, I don't know this for sure, but it seemed like at least you coasted round three. And the guy, he was cage pushing you the whole time.
Yeah, I
And
did, and I said that after it. We in my head, I thought I'd won the first 2 rounds. Know what I mean? And like I was speaking to my corner, and they thought that I could. They said the first round was close than the second, but I thought I'd won 2 rounds. And I think two judges did give me the first 2 rounds, and then in the third round, it was like my ankle's fucked. Yeah, I can just. And when he pushed me against the cage, it was just like, yeah, push me against the cage, lad.
yeah.
Like, it's not gonna do anything. Know what I mean? It's not gonna cause no damage. You can just hold me here, and I'll still win the fight.
Mhm.
And then even at that, that's what I mean. Though even that round, I ended up on his back at the end of the round. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
all he done was push me against the cage and hold me there. You think I've seen someone putting on something the other day. There was only like 7 significant strikes landed in that round,
Yeah.
which yeah, boring, very boring. But at the end of that round, I ended up taking him down and getting on his back. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So I think I don't know. One of the judges gave that round to me,
Mhm.
and I can see that. You know what I mean? A lot of the backlash off fans as well was probably because I asked Dana for fight at night. When again, I wouldn't do that again until I'd watched the fight back.
Yeah.
Know what I mean? Because as I say, we don't when we fight, lad. Know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's scrambled. Know what I mean? You're fighting and you think one thing and people see it from a different way, lad. They have a different perspective. But in my head, it feels different. So, as I've said in other interviews, if I ever have a close fight again, I won't be talking about it in the cage after it. But
Mhm.
that's why, like when I fought Tony, I was just like, yeah, I won that fight. Know what I mean? I dominated. There was no way you could give it any other way than 30-27.
Mhm.
First round could have even been a 10-8. But I even see people talking about that, lad. I even see people commenting on stuff. Oh, he was getting pieced up by Tony in the third round. He gasped, and it's like, what fight he was used watching there? People commenting on stuff. Oh, he just about beat old man Tony. Just about. What fight were you fucking watching? Know what I mean? Like, what rose tinted Tony glasses did you have on? Because he got beat up for 3 rounds, lad. He got dominated. The first round could have been a 10-8. So how are people even saying that was a close fight? Like, people were trying to say, oh, it just about beat Tony Ferguson. I'd have fucking won every round quite easily.
As a gambling man myself, I would just like to give you this is that a lot of people, and MMA is one of the most popular betting sports in the world. A lot of people are probably saying these things with a lens on that they are because they gambled on it, right?
Yeah,
That's part of it is like they were like, oh, like I have this money, so it's a biased opinion, right? I
yeah.
believe 10, I believe that there was a couple people that said 10-7 first round, by the way, in that Tony fight.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, like, I don't understand how it winning a 10-8 on the scorecard. Like, to be honest, I thought when they got read out, it was going to be 30-26. Like, I thought that first round was a 10-8 because I was this close from finishing him. I think Tony's reputation kept him in that fight. Know what I mean? Because the refs know who can take more of a beating and who doesn't want to get finished early. And Tony's one of them guys. Know what I mean? His reputation kept him from getting finished there. And I've said that in other interviews, I did blow me load a bit trying to finish him. Know what I mean? I think another referee stops that. Definitely if it's another fighter. And I was putting it on him trying to get the finish. Know what I mean? I did want to get the finish in the first round, but I'm glad I went to three because I know now that if I can blow me load like that in the first round, trying to finish someone as strong as Tony Ferguson, who is very hard to finish, especially TKO, then I know for a fact that I can do it against anyone else in the division.
Mhm.
Because as you saw, I'll be honest, I was tired at the start of the third round when I come out. I think it was a bit of an adrenaline dump as well, where it was like, wow, I could have got him out of here. Know what I mean? And again, just like the Jared fight, I coasted a little bit. Know what I mean? I was just stepping back, just getting into it. Just like, yeah, I'm 2 rounds up here, so I don't need to do nothing drastic. And then obviously, I took him down and sat on top of him for 4 minutes, punching and elbowing him in the face.
Mhm. Absolutely. Patty, I'm pretty set here. I'm really looking forward to your fight against Bobby Green, whatever we want to call
Name's
him.
Bobby. His
Bobby.
name is Bobby. He
Bobby.
was christened Bobby. He was born Bobby. His mum and dad call him Bobby. His name is Bobby.